In this video, I'll be covering the basics of React.js and setting up your development environment. My name is Larry, and this is Digital Logic. Before we get started with React, we have to set up a development environment. The first part of this is to install NodeJS. So open up a browser, and in the search bar type NodeJS, and then hit Enter. Then click on the link for nodejs.org. Now click on one of the links to download Node. You can download the LTS version or the current stable version. Both will work for what we need, so it's really up to you. Once you have Node installed, you'll want to install the React developer tools for your browser. This plugin provides a lot of insight into the React components and makes debugging a lot easier. So open up a new tab, and since I'm using Chrome, I'll search for Chrome extensions. And then search for React. And there's the developer tools. While we're at it, we might as well install the Redux developer tools as well. Redux is a global state container that allows us to centralize our application state and logic, and it's commonly used in React applications. Once you have the developer tools installed in your browser, you'll need to install an IDE or code editor. So open up a new tab, and in the search bar type VS Code. And then download and install it. You don't have to install VS Code to follow along. Any IDE or code editor that supports JavaScript will work. So I'm going to switch to a Windows VM so you can see how to start a new React app in a Windows environment. But the process is the same in any operating system. So let's open up VS Code. And if I click on File, you'll notice that we don't have an option to create a new project. All we can do is create a new file. So press Ctrl+ to open up a terminal in VS Code. And since we're in a Windows environment, the terminal that we get is a PowerShell. You can, of course, use a command prompt, but the commands in the command prompt are slightly different than in the PowerShell. So I'll just exit this. Right now, I am in my home directory. I could put the project right here, but I'd prefer to put it somewhere else. So I'll type CD for change directory, and then type documents. You can type ls to get a list of the contents in the current directory, and I'll create a new directory, and I'll name it development. And then change directory into development. You can hit tab for auto completion, and then I'll clear the screen. So before we do anything else, let's make sure Node is installed and working. So type Node and then hit Enter. If you're greeted with the Welcome to Node message, then you're ready to go. If you get an error, then try rebooting your computer to make sure any environmental variables are updated. To exit the Node console, type !exit and then hit Enter. Let's create our first React app. So type npx create React app, and then the name of the app, which I'll call Hello World. Make sure to include only lowercase letters within the name. Uppercase letters are not allowed. Underscore, dashes, and numbers are allowed characters, so you can include those in your project name. And then press Enter. This will take some time to download all the packages, so just be patient. Once it's done, press Ctrl+ to close the terminal. Now click on File, and then Open Folder. Navigate to the project folder, then select the Hello World folder, and click Select Folder. Now that we have the project folder open, you should see a couple different directories and files in the left column. But before we continue, I'm going to close the Windows virtual machine, and then go back to Linux. All right, so let's continue. So we have a couple different folders in the Project Explorer. The Node Modules folder is a repository of modules and libraries that a project depends on. And as you can see, there's a lot of content within it. The public folder contains some static assets, a few images, and then the index.html file, which serves as the starting point for our application. Next, we have the source folder, which contains all of the source code for our app. Then we've got the package.json file, which contains configuration information for our app. The dependencies section defines the libraries and modules this app requires. The script section defines the different scripts that we can run through Node. The start script will start up the development server. The build script will build a production build of our app. The test script will run any tests that we have. The eject script is a little bit different, and I'll talk about the eject script later on. Then we have the ESLint configuration, and then the browser list, which defines the browser build targets. So the next step would be to start up the development server and find out what our app looks like. There are a couple different ways to do this. You can open up a terminal by pressing Ctrl- in VS Code and then type npm run start. You can also right-click on the script that you want to run and then select Run Script. VS Code will open up a new terminal displaying the output of running the script. And now open up a browser to localhost at port 3000. And here is our running app. Press F12 to open up the developer tools in your browser. And here's the generated HTML for our app. Now open up the React developer tools. And we have one component named app. Go ahead and click on it and you'll see some additional information about it. As we modify the code for our app, the development server will automatically rebuild and update the code within the browser. This means that we will be able to view the changes that we make in real time without having to refresh the browser every time we want to get an updated view. And this works pretty well. You will occasionally have to manually refresh the browser every once in a while and even restart the development server, but it doesn't happen all that often. So let's go back to VS Code, and then I'll close the terminal by pressing Ctrl-. And now open the index.js file. This weird syntax that you see is called JSX. In the next video, I'll be covering JSX, React Components, and React Elements. That's it for this video. If you like this video, then please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.